I found out my family had planned and booked a $12,000 New Year's vacation and expected me to pay for all of it when my sister texted me a packing list on December 20th. Not, would you like to go on a trip? Not, can we talk about vacation plans? Just a cheerful text with a list. Beach resort attire, swimsuits, bring at least 3, cocktail dress for New Year's Eve gala, sunscreen, etc. Can't wait for Cancun. I stared at my phone in confusion. What are you talking about? Her response came immediately. The New Year's trip. Mom booked everything. We leave the 29th. I called my mother. Oh good, Sierra told you, Mom said breezily. I found the most amazing resort in Cancun, all-inclusive, right on the beach. We have a block of rooms for New Year's week. The whole family's going. Mom, nobody asked me about this. Well, you always do New Year's with us. I didn't think I needed to ask. You need to ask if you're expecting me to pay for it. Silence. Then, carefully, what do you mean? Mom, how much is this trip? The rooms are about $12,000 total for the week, but it's all-inclusive, so that covers everything. Food, drinks, activities. It's actually a great deal. My blood ran cold. $12,000, and you're expecting me to pay for this? Well, yes, you always cover family trips. Don't be difficult, Jade. Everyone's already excited. I'm Jade Parker, 29 years old, and that phone call was the moment I realized my family had been using me as their personal bank for so long that they didn't even bother asking anymore. They just expected it. And I'd enabled it by never saying no. But this time I said no. Let me back up and explain how we got here, because this wasn't just about one vacation. This was about 7 years of being the family's ATM, funding everyone's life while barely keeping my own head above water. I grew up in Phoenix, Arizona, the oldest of 3 kids. My parents, Linda and Robert Parker, were middle class. My dad worked in insurance. My mom was a part-time dental hygienist. We weren't rich, but we were comfortable. I was always the responsible one. Good grades, scholarships, worked through college. I graduated with a degree in software engineering and landed a good job at a tech company, making $85,000 a year. By 25, I was making 6 figures. My family knew I was doing well financially. They didn't know exact numbers, but they knew I had a good job, a nice apartment, and seemed comfortable. And that's when the requests started. It began small. My younger sister, Sierra, needed $500 for textbooks. My brother Mason's car broke down and he needed $1,200 for repairs. My parents were short on mortgage payment one month and needed $2,000. I gave. Of course I gave. They were my family. But the requests got bigger and more frequent. Sierra's spring break trip with friends, $2,500. Mason's security deposit on a new apartment, $3,000. My parents' 25th anniversary cruise, $4,000. Every few months, someone needed something, and I provided it. By the time I was 28, I'd given my family over $60,000 across 6 years. I kept a rough mental tally, but never asked for repayment because they were family, and that felt wrong. The pattern was always the same. Someone would call with a crisis or opportunity, present it as urgent and important, and I'd transfer money. Sometimes I got a thank you, sometimes I didn't. Nobody ever asked if I could afford it. Nobody ever offered to pay me back. Nobody ever contributed to anything I needed. Because I was Jade. Jade had money. Jade had her life together. Jade could handle it. What they didn't see was that I was drowning. My savings were depleted. I had credit card debt from covering their emergencies. I'd postponed my own goals, buying a house, traveling, retirement savings, because I was too busy funding everyone else's life. But I never said no, because saying no felt selfish, because family is supposed to help each other, right? The vacation thing started 2 years ago. My parents decided they wanted to go to Hawaii for Thanksgiving. A family trip, my mother announced, all of us together in paradise. She asked if I could help out with costs. The total was $8,000 for flights and accommodations for 5 people. I said yes. I put it on a credit card and paid it off over 4 months. The Hawaii trip was nice, beautiful even, but I noticed something. I was the only one who'd paid for any of it. My parents didn't contribute. Sierra and Mason, both adults with jobs, didn't contribute. I funded the entire trip for everyone. When I gently mentioned this to my mother, she said, "Well, honey, you make so much more than the rest of us. It's only fair that you contribute more." Contributing more felt different than contributing everything, but I didn't push back. Last New Year's, my mother organized a ski trip to Colorado, just a long weekend, she promised. The total cost was $5,000. I paid for all of it. At dinner on New Year's Eve at the resort restaurant, my family toasted to making this an annual tradition. Nobody toasted to me for making it possible. This year, I'd been worried about money for the first time in my life. My company had gone through layoffs. I'd kept my job, but bonuses were cut and raises were frozen. I had $8,000 in credit card debt from previous family expenses. My savings account had $3,000 in it, which wasn't enough for an emergency fund. I'd been stressed about finances for months, but hadn't told my family because I didn't want to worry them. And then came my sister's text about Cancun. After I called my mother and heard about the $12,000 vacation they'd planned without asking me, I did something I'd never done before. I said no. "Mom, I can't pay for this trip." "What do you mean you can't pay?" "I mean, I can't afford it. I have debt. My savings are low. I'm not in a position to drop $12,000 on a vacation." "Jade, don't be dramatic. You make six figures. And I've given you over $60,000 in the past 6 years. I've funded this entire family's lifestyle for years, and I'm done covering it." Silence. Then, carefully, $60,000? That's an exaggeration. "It's not. I can show you my bank records if you want." "Well, those were loans we intended to pay back." "Nobody has ever paid me back. Not once." "Mom, I've been funding this entire family's lifestyle for years, and I'm done covering it." I hung up. My phone immediately exploded with texts. From Sierra, "What's going on? Mom says you're refusing to pay for the trip." From Mason, "Dude, seriously? You're going to bail on New Year's?" From my father, "Jade, please call your mother back and work this out. She's very upset." I turned my phone off and sat in my apartment shaking. I'd done it. I'd actually said no. The next morning, I woke up to 17 missed calls and 32 text messages. I read through them chronologically, watching the tone escalate from confused to angry to guilting to threatening. "Sierra, I don't understand why you're doing this. You always pay for family trips. Why is this time different?" Me, "I can't afford to pay $12,000 for 5 people. I can't afford to pay $3,000 for myself." Mason, "So you're just going to go on some fancy trip alone while the rest of us suffer?" Me, "I'm not making you suffer. You can still go to Cancun if you want. You just have to pay for it yourselves." Mom, "I've spent the morning crying. I can't believe my own daughter would abandon her family like this. We've always been there for you, and this is how you treat us." Dad, "Your mother has been calling the resort trying to get a refund because you already paid the deposit. This is going to cost us $2,000 because of your tantrum." Sierra, "I took time off work for this trip. I told my friends I'd be in Cancun for New Year's. You're so embarrassing." Mom, "Fine. If you won't pay for the family trip, we'll just stay home and have no celebration at all. I hope you're happy ruining everyone's holiday." I called my best friend, Maya. "They planned a $12,000 vacation and just expected you to pay for it without asking?" "Apparently, I always pay, so why would this time be different?" "Jade, that's insane. You know that's insane, right?" "I'm starting to realize that." "What are you going to do?" I thought about it. "I'm going to go on vacation, just not with them." Over the next 2 days, while my family continued their guilt campaign, I planned my own New Year's trip. I'd always wanted to go to Iceland, the northern lights, the hot springs, the dramatic landscapes, but I'd never gone because family trips always took priority and my budget. I found a tour package, 5 days in Iceland from December 29th to January 2nd. Small group tour, nice hotel, all the major sites, Northern Lights viewing. Total cost was $2,800, including flights. I could afford $2,800. What I couldn't afford was $12,000 for a vacation I didn't even want. I booked it. Then I sent a message to the family group chat. I've booked a trip to Iceland for New Year's. I'll be leaving on the 29th and returning on the 2nd. I won't be available during that time. I hope you all have a great holiday. The responses came within minutes. Sierra, Iceland? You said you couldn't afford a vacation. Me, I can't afford to pay $12,000 for 5 people. I can afford to pay $3,000 for myself. Mason, so you're just going to go on some fancy trip alone while the rest of us suffer? Me, I'm not making you suffer. You can still go to Cancun if you want. You just have to pay for it yourselves. This is the most selfish thing you've ever done. I didn't raise you to be this kind of person. You raised me to set boundaries and respect myself. I'm doing both. Jade, please reconsider. Your mother is heartbroken. Can't you at least contribute something to the trip? No, Dad. I've contributed $60,000 to this family over 6 years. It's time for everyone else to contribute. I muted the group chat after that. My phone kept buzzing with individual messages, but I ignored most of them. The only person I responded to was my grandmother, my dad's mother, who texted, "Your mother called me crying about the vacation situation. I told her she should be ashamed of herself for taking advantage of you all these years. I'm proud of you for standing up for yourself. Have a wonderful time in Iceland, sweetheart." I cried reading that. At least someone understood. December 29th arrived. I was at the airport about to board my flight to Reykjavik when my mother called. Against my better judgment, I answered. "Jade, please don't do this. We canceled the Cancun trip. We couldn't afford it without you. Everyone is devastated. Sierra is crying. Mason won't even talk to us because he's so disappointed. Your father and I are going to spend New Year's alone in our house because you refused to help your family." Mom, you could have planned a trip you could actually afford. You could have asked me before booking something. You could have had everyone contribute. Instead, you assumed I'd pay for everything like always, and when I finally said no, you tried to guilt me into compliance. This isn't my fault. When did you become so cold? When did money become more important than family? Money isn't more important than family, but family shouldn't take advantage of family. I've given you everything for years, and the one time I say I can't, you make me the villain. That's not love, Mom. That's exploitation. Don't you dare. I have to board my flight. Have a good New Year's. I hung up and turned off my phone. Iceland was magical. Our tour group was small, just 8 people, all solo travelers or couples. Everyone was kind and interesting. Our guide, Gunnar, was funny and knowledgeable. We spent New Year's Eve at a geothermal hot spring under the stars. At midnight, we toasted with champagne in the warm water as fireworks exploded over Reykjavik in the distance. It was one of the most beautiful moments of my life. I met a woman named Rachel from Boston who was also traveling solo. We bonded over drinks at our hotel bar. "I'm here because I finally left my toxic relationship," she told me. "I spent 3 years shrinking myself to make him happy. This trip is me celebrating being free. I'm here because I finally stopped funding my family's lifestyle. They expected me to pay $12,000 for a vacation I didn't plan and didn't want, so I came here instead." Good for you. You know what I learned? People will take as much as you're willing to give. You have to set the limit yourself. She was right. On New Year's Day, I hiked to a waterfall with a tour group. Standing there, watching the water cascade down frozen rocks, I felt something I hadn't felt in years. Peace. No demands, no guilt, no pressure, just me making choices for myself. I turned my phone back on when I landed back in Phoenix on January 2nd. The messages were overwhelming. From my family, a mix of angry and sad messages, but there were some new ones too. From Sierra, "Okay, I've had time to think. Maya told me about all the money you've given us over the years. I didn't realize it was that much. We need to talk when you're ready." From Mason, "Mom's being crazy about this whole thing. I'm sorry she's putting you in the middle. Hope your trip was good." From my grandmother, "Did you see the Northern Lights? I'm so happy you took this trip for yourself." The most interesting messages were from my parents. From Dad, "Your grandmother had some strong words for your mother and me about how we've treated you financially. We'd like to talk when you have time. No pressure." From Mom, nothing. Complete silence. I went home, unpacked, and slept for 12 hours. The next day, my sister asked to meet for coffee. I agreed, curious about her change in tone. Sierra looked uncomfortable when I sat down. So I talked to Maya. She told me a lot about all the money you've given us. I didn't realize it was that much. Over $60,000 in 6 years. She winced. That's insane. Jade, I'm sorry. I never thought about it from your side. I just thought you made good money, so helping out wasn't a big deal. It was a big deal. I have debt because of it, no savings. I've put my own life on hold to fund everyone else's lifestyle. I didn't know that. Nobody talks about this stuff. Mom always just said, Jade's helping out, like it was no big thing. She twisted her coffee cup. The Cancun trip. I was excited about it, but I didn't know she hadn't asked you first. I assumed you'd agreed to it. She used my credit card without asking to pay the deposit. Sierra's eyes widened. That's fraud. I know. Are you going to press charges? No, but I'm never giving her my credit card information again, and I'm not funding any more family expenses. That's fair. Jade, I want to pay you back. I don't have much saved, but I can start sending you money monthly for all the stuff you covered for me over the years. I was surprised and touched. You don't have to. I want to. It's the right thing to do. Maybe like $200 a month, would that help? It would actually help, thank you. We talked for another hour. Sierra admitted she'd been spoiled, that she'd taken me for granted, that seeing me finally stand up to Mom had been a wake-up call. Mom's furious with you, by the way. She's barely speaking to anyone. Dad's trying to play peacemaker. I'm not apologizing. I don't think you should. She was wrong. She's just too proud to admit it. A week later, my father asked to meet me for lunch. Just him, no Mom. We met at a diner near his office. He looked tired. Your mother and I had a long talk with your grandmother, he started. She pointed out some things about how we've treated you financially that we should have seen ourselves. Like using me as a bank? He winced. Yes, like that. Jade, I'm sorry. We got comfortable with you helping out and we stopped thinking about what it was costing you. Not just money, your own goals, your own security. That wasn't fair. No, it wasn't. Your mother is struggling to accept this. She sees it as you pulling away from the family, but I see it as you finally standing up for yourself, which you should have done years ago, which we should have never put you in a position to need to do. Thank you for saying that. I want to pay you back. We can't do it all at once, but I'm going to start sending you money every month. Your mother doesn't know yet. She's still too proud, but I'm doing it anyway. Dad, you don't have to. I do. We took advantage of you. We need to make it right. He slid an envelope across the table. There's $1,000 in there. It's a start. I opened the envelope. There was a check inside, written from my father's personal account. First of many, he said. I'm sorry, Jade. We failed you as parents. We made you feel like your value was in your wallet, not in who you are. That was wrong. I cried right there in the diner booth. My mother, on the other hand, didn't come around for months. She sent me one text in mid-January. I'm very disappointed in how you handled the vacation situation. When you're ready to apologize, we can move forward. Until then, I need space. I didn't respond because I had nothing to apologize for. Through Sierra, I heard that Mom was telling relatives her version of events, that I'd abandoned the family, refused to help, went on a selfish trip while everyone else suffered. Some relatives believed her and sent me judgmental messages. Others called me to hear my side and were shocked when they learned the full story. My Aunt Jennifer, my mom's sister, called me. Your mother told me you refused to help with a family vacation, but she left out the part where she booked a $12,000 trip without asking you and expected you to pay for all 5 people. That's not refusing to help, Jade. That's setting a reasonable boundary. One by one, relatives started reaching out with support instead of judgment. In March, Sierra sent me a text. Just sent you this month's payment. Also, Mason is asking how he can pay you back too. We're all starting to realize how much you did for us. Mason and I met for dinner a week later. He was awkward at first, then sincere. I've been thinking a lot about how we treated you. You basically funded my entire 20s. My apartment deposits, car repairs, random expenses. You covered all of it, and I never even said thank you properly. You did say thank you sometimes. Yeah, but like casual thanks, not thank you for sacrificing your own financial security to help me, thanks. That's different. He pulled out his phone. He set up a monthly transfer, $300 a month to you. It's going to take years to pay you back fully, but I want to do it. Dad, you don't have to. I do. We took advantage of you. We need to make it right. He slid an envelope across the table. There's $1,000 in there. It's a start. I opened the envelope. There was a check inside, written from my father's personal account. First of many, he said. I'm sorry, Jade. We failed you as parents. We made you feel like your value was in your wallet, not in who you are. That was wrong. I cried right there in the diner booth. My mother, on the other hand, didn't come around for months. She sent me one text in mid-January. I'm very disappointed in how you handled the vacation situation. When you're ready to apologize, we can move forward. Until then, I need space. I didn't respond because I had nothing to apologize for. Through Sierra, I heard that Mom was telling relatives her version of events, that I'd abandoned the family, refused to help, went on a selfish trip while everyone else suffered. Some relatives believed her and sent me judgmental messages. Others called me to hear my side and were shocked when they learned the full story. My Aunt Jennifer, my mom's sister, called me. Your mother told me you refused to help with the family vacation, but she left out the part where she booked a $12,000 trip without asking you and expected you to pay for all 5 people. That's not refusing to help, Jade. That's setting a reasonable boundary. One by one, relatives started reaching out with support instead of judgment. In March, Sierra sent me a text. Just sent you this month's payment. Also, Mason is asking how he can pay you back too. We're all starting to realize how much you did for us. Mason and I met for dinner a week later. He was awkward at first, then sincere. I've been thinking a lot about how we treated you, he said. You basically funded my entire 20s. My apartment deposits, car repairs, random expenses. You covered all of it, and I never even said thank you properly. You did say thank you sometimes. Yeah, but like casual thanks, not thank you for sacrificing your own financial security to help me, thanks. That's different. He pulled out his phone. I set up a monthly transfer, $300 a month to you. It's going to take years to pay you back fully, but I want to do it. Mason, you don't have to. Yes, I do. You're my sister. You helped me when I needed it. Now it's my turn to help you. By April, I was receiving $500 a month total from my siblings. My father was sending $300 a month. It wasn't close to the $60,000 I'd given them, but it was the principle. They recognized what I'd done and wanted to make it right. My savings account started growing again. My credit card debt started shrinking. For the first time in years, I felt financially stable. In May, my mother finally called. Jade, we need to talk. Okay. Your father has been sending you money without telling me. I know. When I found out, we had a big fight. He said we owed you, that we'd taken advantage of you for years, that I needed to acknowledge it. She was quiet for a moment. He was right. I didn't say anything. I've been doing a lot of thinking and talking to a therapist. She's helped me see some patterns in how I relate to you, how I've seen you as a resource instead of a person. That wasn't conscious, but it was real, and it was wrong. Thank you for saying that. I'm sorry, Jade. I'm genuinely sorry. Not sorry that you stood up for yourself. You should have done that sooner. But sorry that I put you in a position where you had to. Sorry that I took advantage of your generosity. Sorry that I valued your money more than your well-being. I felt tears building. I appreciate that, Mom. I don't expect you to forgive me right away. I don't expect things to go back to how they were, but I want to rebuild our relationship on healthier terms, if you're willing. I am, slowly. We started talking once a week on the phone, brief conversations at first, then longer. She told me about therapy, about recognizing her patterns of control and entitlement. I told her about how I'd felt used and unappreciated. It wasn't easy. There were moments of backsliding, moments where she'd slip into old patterns and I'd have to reassert boundaries, but she was trying, really trying. Now it's December again, a year since the Cancun incident. This morning, my mother sent a group text to the family. I'd like to host New Year's at our house this year. Small gathering, just family, dinner and games. Everyone bring a dish. Jade, if you're available and want to come, we'd love to have you. No pressure either way. Small gathering, potluck, genuine invitation without pressure. I almost cried reading it. I responded, I'd love to come. I'll bring dessert. I'm also planning another trip for myself this year, a week in Japan in March. This time, I can afford it because I'm not funding everyone else's lives. Sierra and Mason are planning a sibling trip for just the three of us in summer. They're paying for themselves. We're splitting any shared costs equally. My father continues sending monthly payments. My mother hasn't started yet, but she's mentioned wanting to when she's in a better financial position. I believe her. The difference now is that I'm not waiting for them to pay me back to feel whole. I'm not tying my worth to whether they appreciate my sacrifices. I'm building my own life, saving for my own goals, making my own choices. And if they want to be part of that life, they're welcome, as long as they respect the boundaries I've set. My family expected me to pay for their New Year's vacation without even asking. So I went to Iceland instead and had the best New Year's of my life. That one decision changed everything. It showed them I had limits. It showed me I deserved respect. And it taught all of us that love isn't measured in dollars spent, but in respect given. The best revenge isn't anger or cutting people off completely. It's living so well, so freely, that you don't need their validation anymore. My family used me as their ATM for 7 years. Now I'm my own person with my own priorities. And this New Year's, I'll celebrate with them, but on my terms. No expectations, no obligations. Just family trying to do better. And if it doesn't work out, I'll book another trip to somewhere beautiful. Because I finally learned I don't need their approval to live my life. I just need my own. Happy New Year to me.